Okay, so this is going to be a very weird and bizarre video because I'm going to, in today's update, argue why, despite the recent move down in JASMY, now I am a bit more bullish relative to the previous updates, and if the scenario that I'm thinking is going to play out soon in JASMY, we are going to witness some sharp moves on the upside. So with that said, hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you are having a great time with your family and loved ones. And if you remember, the last time that we talked about JASMY, I believe we were right around these areas, and the idea was more likely than not we are going to have a consolidation pattern, and then we are going to have at least another move on the upside, because I was saying, yep, this is a 1, 2 big move up into wave 3, correction for 4, and we're gonna have at least another move on the upside into wave 5. So what happened? Definitely not this scenario. So makes sense to say, well, okay, because we got a move down in here, now we might be a bit bearish. The answer is maybe not, and here is how I like to argue that. You see, I was saying, because in here we are having a very small overlapping of the waves between our corrective movements, well, okay, we can say either this is a leading diagonal in form of a wedge, or maybe an expanding leading diagonal. However, when we check the rules out, we realized none of them are actually allowed in here. So what is it that I'm trying to say? I'm trying to tell you, in JASMY, there is a good chance that this whole move on the downside is starting from this high and maybe ending to about here, or maybe like we're gonna get another move down, and that will be it. It's going to be a corrective movement, and the shape of it, I think if you are a regular viewer of the channel, you know what I'm about to say, might be in form of an ABC flat, which looks like this. This is our initial move down into a correction for wave B, and another move down into our C leg. And if in this move, we're going to take the low of our wave A, we call this pattern an expanded flat, something like this. If we are not going to take it, this is called a running flat. Nonetheless, sub waves are pretty much the same. ABC down into A, ABC, or maybe a WXY, not important, into wave B, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulsive structure down into our wave C. Let's go on the live chart and see what is happening. Okay, so let's remember. I think we can all kind of safely assume that this is a beautiful A, B, C zigzag. Followed by that, now I'm gonna argue with a lot of confidence, this is not an impulse, and instead it's just a simple A, B, C on the upside, maybe something like this to about this height. And what is happening starting from the highest side? First, let's check out a scenario suggesting maybe in JASMY we're gonna get like one more move down. Let's go on 5-minute chart. Okay, so this, in my opinion, is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down to about this point, and it might be on a higher degree into a wave 3, correction for 4, and as you can see, this can be another move down into wave 5, and well, on even a higher degree, these are the sub waves for a beautiful A, B, C running flat. What if we're gonna have another move down? Even at that point, I'm going to argue we are still going to in here consider a flat structure. I'm just gonna say maybe we're gonna have something like this. The start of this wave 1 instead of here, then it's going to be right in here, and we can say this is 1, 2, 5 down into wave 3, correction for 4, another move down into wave 5, and this one on a higher degree, you know the deal, is going to be into wave 3, correction for 4, and we're going to have another move down into wave 5, and then that will be it, the low of our correction in form of an A, B, C flat. Now, pay attention. This is where the story gets very interesting, because I believe our ABC flat started from this high. Now I cannot argue that this structure by itself on the upside is an impulse. So I'm gonna say maybe we are having a series of 1-2s in JASMY, meaning this can be 5 up into 1, correction for wave 2, and then we're gonna get big move up into wave 3, 4, 5, which on a higher degree is gonna be, you know what, into wave 3, and then correction for 4, another move up into wave 5, and that is going to be the end of our this wave 5. And from here we can expect, fair enough, like a relatively deep move on the downside. The point that I'm trying to make is this: sure, in the short term we did get a move down in JASMY, but believe it or not, that only made me a bit more bullish than before. And I do think if this scenario is happening, we're going to see like some serious extensions, meaning some strong moves on the upside. Who knows, maybe even we're going to reach by the first target to somewhere around the 2.5 cents area. This move up, if this is happening, can actually be that strong. Now, I said this before, and I'm going to also say it in today's update. Any analyst at any given moment should be able to come up with a bullish and also a bearish possibility at the same time in order to be 100% objective. So in the interest of being objective, we need to come up with a bearish possibility in here, indicating maybe this is not an impulse. Instead, it might be a correction structure. And let's go on a less busy chart, maybe from Coinbase. There we go. So what pattern can we consider in this area? I am honestly not sure. Maybe, yes, this can be ABC up into wave W to about this point, correction for wave X, another ABC zigzag up into our wave Y, correction for wave X, and this can be yet another zigzag on the upside into our wave Z. Now, our wave Y in here, yes, kind of got truncated, but I think we can actually ignore this thing and say maybe this is like a WXYZ in form of a triple zigzag, indicating in JASMY we're going to get a very strong move. Now, the question is, which possibility is going to be in play, and how can we say whether this or the previous scenario is happening? Well, here is the deal. I said this move down is more likely than not an impulsive structure, right? Well, okay, here's a question. What happens after an impulse? You know it, some sort of a move on the upside, and your answer is going to be right in here. If in this phase we see like a very strong move without a whole lot of overlapping of the waves in form of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, that is going to be a beautiful sign indicating the bullish scenario is in play. On the other hand, if we get a slow and choppy move with a lot of overlapping of the waves, which is a characteristic of a correction, well, okay, that's not going to be a good sign. And at that point, we're going to say either this is 1, 2, and then we're going to get big move down into wave 3, 4, 5. Or if you want to be a bit more optimistic, you can say this is A, this is B. And once more, the conclusion is the same. In the short term, at that point, we're going to get at least another move down into our ceiling. So we are going to have one way or the other a move up soon in JASMY coin, and in that phase I need you to pay full attention to the shape of that move. Okay, the move up itself is kind of predictable. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. You need to pay full attention to the shape of it, and I think there is also another way to identify what is happening in this area. Okay, in H4 time frame, as you can see, we are having a high, the other one is a higher high. However, when it comes to indicators in MACD, as you can see, this is a high, the other one is a clear-cut lower high. So what's it that I'm trying to say? I believe in H4 time frame, we are having a beautiful bearish divergence. Now again, a bearish divergence by itself is a negative sign indicating that bulls are kind of running out of power. However, if the extension scenario that we talked about at the beginning of the video is happening, well, okay, you need to see soon a move up in MACD in order to get a break of this divergence line, and that will most likely translate to a relatively sharp move up in JASMY coin. So if you want to say the bullish scenario, meaning having an extension structure is happening, you need to see in MACD a break of the divergence line, and that kind of can be your ultimate bullish sign, indicating we are not bearish in here and maybe the final low is already in. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in JASMY coin. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.